Yes, 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 you are inside the ride. This is your host, Alphonse Delamota, coming at you live and direct with another YouTube session. Just finished up my mix, and this is another one. Um, I don't really know what to expect when I dive into these mixes, but as I'm going through them, as I'm looking through the songs, I pick one, and I say, yeah, this might be one that works out because it just, like I said in the description, for no specific reason, but when I see the song, it inspires memories and examples that I can give to my youth. And when I first got into raving, what drew me to it, I was a tagging kid. I was a kid from the south side involved in everything negative, from gangs, party crews, and stuff like that. It's in the family, it's in the neighborhood, it's all around me. But this tune right here, Junglelist, when I first heard this song and other songs like it, it's what drew me to being a junglist, being like I said, a kid from the neighborhood. I was used to hearing rappers and that kind of vibe in my music. And when I heard this and what the guy was saying, and even at this point, I really wasn't that much into reggae. I was aware of it. Uh, I believe I liked it. I don't necessarily remember hating it or not liking it, but I recall KRS-One and other people like that got me into reggae, at least recognizing what the style was. But when I heard this song and other songs like it, it definitely drew me to the rave scene, at least to get heavier into it than I was. Growing up in Chicago, you're into house music. House music is just there all day long. So you know what house is, you know what techno is. Eventually, later comes trance and all that. But this right here definitely changed how I felt. So big up to Tribe of Ishtar and Peter Bouncer on the lyrics on that. This is a Congo Natty on the Congo Natty records initially, and man, it was a killer. I just couldn't believe how much of a solid song it was. It was pretty sick, and like I said, when I heard it and other songs like it, it definitely just solidified my love for jungle, drum and bass, and the underground rave scene. I believe one of the first parties I seen the homie Danny the Wild Child at was some party where there was a drum and bass room, and he was, I think, two DJs up, and I actually heard him, but I had seen him out in the hallway, and I was, man, what are you doing here? And we know each other from grade school, and when I seen him, I was like, he's like, yeah, he told me he DJ. I was like, what? And I was on acid. It was one of the first bigger parties I went to. Dosed on acid, and it definitely, like I said, changed my life forever. And it was cool to see one of the guys from Archer and 35th at the party having fun. Um, and it was just a lot of fun. We had so much fun back in those days. I mean, I don't think they can't reproduce the kind of fun that we had. There's that meme going around that I've been sharing, specifically the one that speaks on raves and clubs and the difference and the missing element for why a club will never be as good as a rave. The missing element is crime, and it was just a lot of fun. I mean, getting the space was half the battle. I mean, more than half the battle, really. Then you had to lock in sound, get the right DJs, get all your street team all sorted out. It was a whole nother world, man. Especially when I learned how to throw parties, that's when everything shifted for me, and I kind of went to the other side. I went from being a raver and just having fun to seeing the other side and how much of a challenge that was, and me being a leader in most of the things that I've done throughout my life. I was like, I can do one of these. and that led me to hanging out with Sub-Zero and ZVI Svi from ASCII, and they kind of showed me the beginnings of what it took, and later on, as I fast forwarded through my career, I helped my uncle and my cousins throw their first rave, and that's what we threw under the name Boogie Tribe. They were new wave promoters. They were throwing new wave parties, and they got into parties and hit me up and were like, "Hey, what do you know about throwing parties?" And I told them what I knew about it. We found a spot, and we threw Planet Base. That was in August. I'm not sure of what year exactly, but it was a long time ago, and it was a lot of fun. Something that definitely changed my life. Like I said, being from the neighborhood and being a tagger and being into graffiti and stuff like that, it was a real culture shock for me to see the difference between lifestyles and how the ravers lived versus how I lived. I came from the south side of Chicago, Archer and 35th, and prior to that, I was from Back of the Yards, which is my address was 5005 South Marshfield. You can look on Google Maps, 5005 South Marshfield, and you can go to the house I lived in, and it's called Back of the Yards. Do a little search, check the area out. It's growing up, I got nothing but good memories, but we definitely left that area, and right now it is a war zone. Stuff like this is what I seen on the daily. In third grade, I knew gang colors before I knew that there was a north side and a south side to Chicago. I had no idea. But I knew the gang colors and all that before I knew that. So this is the reason why I live in a north suburb, so my kid doesn't have to live like that. But like I said, when I went to the rave parties, I really learned that the difference between how we saw things and how we lived and what we saw when we got home. Like these guys, they had bonfires and stuff when they got home. Me, when I got home, I kind of hid in the basement, and it's kind of where I learned and taught myself a lot of my own heritage through studying actual books and magazines and stuff like that. When I was a kid, I met a Mayan who put us up on some crazy knowledge, kind of just set me on a path on what to believe and what not to believe. And ever since that conversation, I never went to a organized church, and that's about 14 years old. Reason being is I followed the path of my ancestors, that being of the Native American Aztec ancestors. I believe that the things that need to be worshipped are the sun, moon, and stars, earth, wind, fire, water. These things that make human life possible, just like the beat of a drum. Music is probably one of the most important things that we have that bond us as human beings. So regardless of our ancestry, that's the most important, in my opinion. It saved my life. That music and culture are two of the most important things that I pretty much owe for being here in front of everyone and doing these podcasts. Because if it wasn't for dance music, DJing, and recognizing that I come from some knowledgeable and awesome people like the Aztec, I wouldn't be here, because sometimes there wasn't much to look forward to, and you get bored, and you maybe just, you don't feel worth. And that's another conversation from the time, but one of the reasons that I'm here is self-worth. And by learning my own history, learning how to DJ, learning music, learning not only that my bloodline comes from some powerful people, but that also my city, Chicago, is responsible for pretty much dance music in general. Because if it wasn't for Chicago, if it wasn't for the African Americans from here, if it wasn't for the gay scene, the gay people who are also African American from Chicago, and the situation that Chicago put them in, there wouldn't be house music. If everybody was friendly and everybody was accepting, there definitely would not be house music as we know it. It drove them underground, and it sharpened their knives to a point that when they came out and they hit the dance floor, it had to be what it was: sick. And with that, I want to thank you for listening. Make sure you check back each and every Monday right here on YouTube. Make sure you go to iTunes and grab my mix. It's out there. Hit that drum. Fuck all this hatred. And it's a new day. Fuck Donald Trump. Let's dance.